I don't know what I'm looking at here, but Dennis wanted me to service his baitcaster, and this is nowhere near a baitcaster. I don't know what he's thinking or what, but I'm sitting here waiting here, and I don't know how to break the news to him, but he bought a fly reel instead of a baitcaster. So let's see how that goes down. And then he wants me to hook him up with Rapalas and tie a Rapala on there, but he gives me a box with flies on it. I don't know. Let's see how this goes when Dennis shows up and break the news that, hey man, you bought a AK baitcaster - fly reel and Rapalas - flies. So let's see what happens. Funny with Polar is that there was a little Merritt boat. I think it was a Merritt boat, or it was maybe a old Rivovich or something like that. It came to the boatyard. I don't remember what it was, but it definitely had Polar and the transom on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Oh, maybe it was. No, it wasn't like an old one.
Old one. I'm talking like ancient.
Right. Well, how long ago was that?
Oh, probably like 2 years ago.
Really?
Maybe 3.
It was probably a replica, I think, of that Hemingway boat.
I think so. It was small, right? Really small.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I
don't think that boat was really that big, the Polar.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but
I wish I had a picture of it. I'm not sure if I did take one. I mean, everything on it like had antique gauges and stuff. It was like, wow.
They have a replica of that one in the Bass Pro down in Islamorada.
Right.
And the real one is in Havana.
Okay.
Which a friend of mine, Chuck Faust, and his wife Alicia, shout out. They went down there recently, and they took a picture, and I got them, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
No kidding.
I got they keep it like outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
They don't keep it indoors.
Okay.
It's Cuba, so it's not really like, air controlled facility kind of attitude, but it is under a platform.
Really?
But it's outdoors, yeah.
Huh.
So, I don't know.
That's pretty awesome.
I wanted to, actually, let me introduce you to everybody. Okay. So our guest today, we are honored to have Jose Carbonell, and he is an ambassador for Freedom Fighter Outdoors, and he is a master bass angler, and also your full-time gig, you work at Merritt Boatyard.
Yeah. Yep.
So we're honored to have you on.
Thank you guys for having me.
On the Connected by Water podcast. Sponsored by Joey Accardi, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. So, and also, I just want to give a shout out to my boy Dean at Joey Accardi. I just spoke to him yesterday. He wanted to call me and thank me for sending him so many people. And I said, well, I'm sending you people, but how's it going? And he goes, they're walking away happy.
Oh,
so
that's
I said,
awesome.
there you go. I said, that's all we can ask for.
That's
so
awesome.
if you're in the market for a truck, if you're in the market for a car, right?
Go look him up.
Look up my boy Dean. He'll hook you up. He'll help you out. He'll get you the best deal possible, and he'll treat you like a king.
Awesome, man. Good to know.
Yep, absolutely. I wanted to really start this podcast out with this. So if anybody ever wonders how this table becomes what it becomes, sometimes these are things that I bring on myself. Sometimes they're found items. So if you look at the different items all over the table, those Duper and Claytons up front, those are like toys from my childhood.
Right.
Those guys were like my favorite players growing up for the Dolphins. I got my son's first shoes.
Oh, look at
that. So this is his first pair of shoes. And I've told this story before, though, because he was in the NICU for like 37 days. He was born like 2 months early. So when I was finally able to get him his first pair of shoes, it was like a big deal. So I'm never letting these go.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of different things on the table. Rory Cam and Victoria Burgess were recently on, and they left a box of smoked oysters. So we're going to leave that on there.
And some wax.
Yeah, and some surf wax, right? So
awesome.
So some people bring some things in, and recently Tony Peralta from the FFO outreach officer, he says, Dennis, I brought you a gift. Right. And he goes, I'm wondering if it can make the podcast room.
Right.
So I said, what'd you bring me, Tony? And he brought me this army patch. of a dagger, and it says, "If I tell you, I have to kill you." So there you go.
That's Tony's motto too.
Yep, that's his motto. So this is going to be
He's awesome.
featured in the podcast room full time. We'll just put it here for now.
That's cool.
If that will, I don't know if that's going to stay out.
Get it. Yep.
All right, John will take care of that. Sorry.
That's all good.
So, Tony, congratulations, you made the room. And if anybody has anything to send us, if they wanted to feature it in the room, we will always consider it as long as it isn't, of poor taste and color, you know what I mean? We'll throw it in the room. You can send an email to sales@connectedbywater and see if we can get you hooked up.
Cool.
So,
very cool.
I also want to give a shout out to my buddy Bruce Marks, who is raising money for the Bug Light Shoal artificial reef project down in Miami, where they're reconstructing this artificial reef. They need everyone's assistance. And for anyone that has followed our Stronger Together initiative, where we raised money, we raised like 40 grand in like 3 days by selling these shirts for the Stronger Together. But I don't say it for that reason. The reason I bring that up is when you donate to the Bug Light Shoal Reef Project, artificial reef project, that money is tax deductible, goes right through the Greater Miami Billfish Tournament 501c3, which has been around for 25 years. So I want people to know that when they do give, it is tax writable and it is going to a legit source.
Wow.
That is the 501c3 that we use to siphon like all of our donated goods through for all our projects with Bruce and them. So it is a legitimate thing. So if you do donate, please look it up. If for those of you that don't know Bruce Marks, he was a guest on the show. So you can go back to that episode and take a look at it. And please help them out. We have a goal of $70,000 to reach, and I don't think we're nearly there yet.
Right.
And he does do a lot of good work in the community. He fixed the bent range marker, among many other projects. He was very, very integral in helping us with the Stronger Together program through the Fishing Community Strong Initiative with Scott Baxter and Brick Peoples. So this is another initiative that needs to get done. Already they're seeing the fruits of the labor happen, where bait fish are already starting to show up. And I know your boss, Roy Merritt, who does so many good things in the community,
tremendous.
Has helped Bruce with that program by donating a lot of
it was old
boulders
rocks.
and rocks and stuff.
Yeah, he redid the seawall for his dad, and he had quite a bit of boulders. And we didn't know really what to do with them, and so one of the guys, Hunter Craig, he found out about this organization. He's like, "Oh man, maybe let me contact them and see if they'll be interested in these boulders." And absolutely, they came in on a barge and they had a crane and they went ahead and picked up these boulders. I mean, these things are massive. They're probably like 8 foot by 8 foot.
Yeah, they're huge.
Some are huge. So they went ahead and they took all the boulders out of the property. And then they put them offshore to create the reefs. It was really cool.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah. And and I know that Bruce and the team really, really appreciated that Roy and Hunter did that. And
for sure.
So hats off to them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And your boss does a lot of good in the community, especially with the organization that we're going to spotlight today, obviously, the organization we spotlight seemingly every other podcast, but because it to me is like the greatest organization in the world.
Right.
Freedom Fighter Outdoors. Yeah. You are an ambassador for Freedom Fighter Outdoors.
Yes.
We just had an event this weekend where, for those of you, I don't know how you're not familiar with it, but if you watch this show at all, we talk about FFO like every day. But there was an event that was both offshore and inshore this time around.
Right.
And so you are the head of taking care of all that inshore program. So tell us a little bit about that tournament.
The tournament was great. Like in the beginning, when I was putting this tournament together, my initial goal was I really wanted, and I worked hard to make sure that each boat had one veteran, because a lot of these boats, they're between 18 to 22 feet. So if I put like 2 or 3 boats on one veteran, it kind of gets crowded some for fishing, and also it takes away that one-on-one experience, where the volunteer and the veteran can bond and exchange stories and, become friends afterwards. And that's what really FFO is about. It's a bonding. You make friends, you guys keep in contact afterwards. And sometimes, if you're in the area where the veteran lives, a lot of the guys, they'll just come visit, hang out for dinner, things like that. So I worked hard to make that happen. And And what ended up happening, we had 23 veterans and I had 24 boats. So one of the boats didn't have a veteran, and I felt bad about it. But, the volunteer, Anthony, it was his name, and he's like, listen, man, I fish all the time anyways. I'm so glad to be here and to participate in the tournament. And he had a great time, and everybody mutually, the volunteer and the veteran just had a blast. I mean, it was cold. We had a cold front on Friday, so it was really chilly in the morning. It was like, 40s, 50 degrees. The wind was crazy. So it was it made fishing tough for that day. A lot of guys caught small fish. It was kind of hard to get, good quality, 4, 5, 6 pound bass.
I think, it's funny. I think you made a comment when you were doing the weigh-in that you could fit all your bass in a Ziploc bag.
Yeah, that was me. That was me. I think you took a gallon Ziploc bag and I could just put 5 fish in there. Here you go.
There were some good fish caught.
There was some good fish
I saw,
caught.
because Sean and I came just to see the weigh-in. We drove out to Holiday Park where the weigh-in event is held. And there were some decent fish being brought up.
A buddy of mine, his son, Matt Osborne, and he's a veteran himself. He was in the Marines.
Oh, was he?
So, yep, he had a 18-foot Triton, and he wanted to volunteer, and he was all for it. So I put a veteran on his boat, and these guys had a great time. And he wound up pulling in a 5 pound, 14 ounce fish. He won.
Oh, that was the guy that. Yeah, I saw that fish. That was a nice fish.
Yep, he won big fish, and oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry, his fish was 5'11" or something like that. Big fish was Josh Welks. That was 5'14". But Matt won the tournament overall at 11-1.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it was awesome. It was.
I know. I mean, I think it's so important, obviously, what you guys do, what you do, what Sarah and Vinny does and the whole organization, as a whole. But being there and experiencing, now this was basically my second FFO event. I did the first one back in the fall, and I was blown away, like instantly impressed. And, and the reason I bring this up is it's one thing to look at it through social media or from a distance or arm's reach, but when you're there with the guys, I mean, it takes on a completely different life about getting involved with the FFO. Just talking to the guys and getting to know them and seeing what they get out of it and just seeing their eyes light up and the transformation that happens to the people that have never been, to veterans that have never been to an FFO event. Just to see like how maybe shy and timid they are in the beginning, and then by the end how comfortable they get. Sarah and Vinny do such a great job. So do you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we work hard to do that, and Sarah, she does. I mean, hats off to her, man. I mean, she is so busy and she works so hard, and she really strives for quality for all these guys and make sure all these guys, they feel welcomed. Make sure they all have a great time. They make sure they're all accommodated. And so really, the organization is the way it is because of Vinny and Sarah and who they are. I mean, they are just the most wonderful people anybody can ever meet.
Salt of the earth. No doubt
Absolutely.
about it. No doubt about it. They are legitimately great, amazing people.
And it's amazing how, this is my third event I coordinated for the bass tournament. And with this event in particular, it kind of had a different feeling to it. It's like I was there at the last dinner and everybody was just standing up and exchanging stories and stuff. And you kind of had that sensation that everybody was gathered like around a campfire talking and exchanging stories. And a lot of these guys had some really personal things to say that was bothering them and, and their experiences in the military and things like that and stuff that, traumatizes them. So a lot of them kind of opened up and just talked to everyone, and so it was great to have that. And it felt so like family oriented, at the end of the event. And that's what we really strive so hard for all these guys and all these guys to really understand and know that even though you participate in this event doesn't mean that we're no longer there for you. We're here for you from here on out. If you allow us to be in your life and help you guys out with whatever troubles you may have. Like I had a veteran contact me last night, and he wanted to get reconnected with the captain that he was with So he messaged me through Messenger, and he was asking for, if I can reconnect him with the captain. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Who was your captain? And like I had like 23 of the guys, and I don't really remember who went with who.
Sure.
So he told me about that. I looked through my Facebook, and I found him. So I did a little group message, and I introduced to both of them. And I go, here you go. Now you guys can, friend each other, and then you can have private conversations, or, if you're in the area, you guys can visit each other and things like that. So it's really great that after these events that we continue to always be there for you guys, the veterans.
I think that's the most important part, really.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's cool to take them fishing, it's cool to take them hunting, but to me that breaks the ice.
Right.
That's really what kind of like knocks the concrete off, or knocks the shell away.
Right.
Because that follow through and that continuation of the relationship is the most important, most essential part, I believe. Because you got to make these guys realize and understand that it isn't BS. FFO is here for you.
Right.
And that's why it's so important for people to give to the FFO. All the money goes directly to this. It's not, it's not like a money making scheme, like maybe some other organizations like this are.
Right.
But all the money goes into like taking care of these guys, and it really does make a difference.
Oh, tremendous.
If you look at, like you're saying with the follow through and, the friends you make too. I mean, I've become friends with quite a few of these guys, and they're amazing, amazing people. And that they'll take their shirts off for you, and we're trying to do that for them. And it's just really, it's great to see that camaraderie happen.
Exactly. It's really awesome.
The there's just listen. When we say we're going to take care of our veterans, right? Like, what does that mean? A lot of people say this, and I want to kind of like cut through, like, the malaise of that comment.
Right.
Support. Oh yeah, I support my veterans. It's like, well, really, do you?
Yeah.
How?
Exactly.
What actually are you doing?
Right.
And are you like taking the right approach? Are you taking the right mindset with this? So you say, oh, we need to take care of our country. We need to take care of our veterans more. Yeah, it does.
Right.
But how?
How?
Like,
Exactly.
do you understand what the real problem is? Because Mike Ansel, who is a huge supporter of the FFO, probably one of the biggest supporters that the FFO has, he shared a link today, right? Which I was like kind of on the fence even bringing this up on this podcast, but we're going to bring it up.
Okay.
Because to me, it's a very, very, very important problem that needs to be addressed. Because a lot of people think, oh, we need to take care of our veterans by fixing their broken arm or giving them free health care or whatever, like what does that mean, right? But what about mental health care?
Right.
Right. So the statistic is that in the last decade, more veterans have committed suicide than this country has lost during the entire Vietnam War.
Yeah, it's sad, man. It really is sad.
When I read that, it punched me in the gut.
Oh, man. Yep.
I mean, because these are good people, and they're dealing with a lot of things that we'll never understand.
Right.
We try to, but we don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's all we can do is try. So they're dealing with some stuff. When you take the veterans to the FFO, or a lot of the other organizations, but I can speak for the FFO because I know firsthand that this is a great organization. When you bring them into the FFO and you get them out on the water, you get them fishing, you break that shell away, that makes a difference.
Huge.
Makes a big difference.
I mean, just to look on their face from before and after, just the day of, you just see that, like a big weight was taken off their shoulders. You know what I mean? And a lot of veterans, like, for Saturday night that opened up, and prior to the event, they had some demons. They were in a dark place, and they were struggling. Yeah. And some of them had like last minute invitations, and they're like, yeah, absolutely, I'll go. And because we had some veterans back out and stuff, some things happened. They had to do some VA appointments and stuff, and that happens. So we invited them like last minute, and they came, and there's like, what? I'm so glad I came, because I was really in a dark place, and my mind wasn't there. And then now it's just like I feel, rejuvenated again. I feel great about everything. And then one thing I wanted to talk about is that, a lot of people ask me, oh, you having this event coming on. What can I do to help? How can I help out in any way? Well, it's kind of like it's kind of difficult in some events. A lot of events we can take, a lot of help, and just putting food out or serving people drinks and stuff, and just to make the event a little smoother. But in a way that people can, help out the most is one, spread the word. There's a lot of veterans out here in our country that just don't know what we do for them. They don't.
That's
know.
really important. I'm glad you brought that up because it doesn't matter if no veterans come.
Right.
Right. So I don't mean to cut you off, but
it's okay.
If they don't show up, then there's no FFO.
There's no FFO.
Yeah,
exactly. And there's could be a lot of veterans out there that can really benefit through what we have to offer for them. And a lot of like the civilians, and they just come and ask me, it's like, listen, how can I help out? How can I participate? And it's like, well, if you really want to do something, like if anybody has like a property or land that they can do like hunting, either turkey hunting or hog hunting, deer hunting, things like that. We do a lot of hunting events across the country, So if somebody wants to sponsor that and take like maybe, 6 or 8 veterans, we can make that happen. We'll fly them in to wherever you're located at, and you guys can have your event and your hunting event. And I think another guy in Pennsylvania, they did a duck hunt out there. So it's really awesome that a lot of the people can get involved in more ways than one.
Yeah.
Other than donating money. I mean, if you guys really want to do something, you can reach out to us with an idea. Say, hey, I live out in Michigan or something. You want to do a little fishing event in a lake near you. We can make that happen. You want to be participant. You want to give back, and there's nothing better feeling than giving back to somebody that truly needs it.
That's
like these
the thing.
guys.
We talk about that a lot on the show about the power of giving is much better than the power of receiving.
Totally.
Like if you think about like if you're just sitting on a pile of cash, right, and you went and bought something like a new car, right, that feeling is fleeting.
Right.
That's going to be cool for like a couple of weeks and be like, all right, and eventually that car is just going to become a party and it's going to wear away. But if you took that money and you start doing some good things with it, that is forever.
Exactly.
Because when you feel like you've made a difference in someone's life or in multiple people's lives, I mean, it goes a long way.
Yeah, and that memory will last forever with them too. And they will always remember you.
So this is that site. This is where that link you should say more U.S. veterans have committed suicide in the last decade than died in the Vietnam War.
Oh man,
that is insane.
Yeah,
what's that?
That's horrible.
Since 2008, more than 60,000 U.S. veterans have taken their own lives, with more than half. Yeah, wow. You scroll up a little bit on that, John.
Yeah,
I want to see if there's. That's insane to me.
Insane.
Like this, when soldiers who make back alive, then fear for dying in combat. Wow. Reality is much more complicated, and that's according to the defense news site military.com. So that's a legit statistic.
Wow.
And
we got to make that number go down. You know?
We got to make that number go down tremendously.
And the way to do it is everybody, giving in and helping these guys out. Like if you see a veteran in the public, and you see he wears, a Vietnam hat or, Desert Storm or something, or a veteran, Army veteran of any kind, really just go over there and introduce yourself, shake their hand, give them a hug and say, you know what, truly thank you for your service.
Yep.
I really appreciate it. A thank you and a handshake and a hug goes a long, long way.
Sure does.
Sure
does. And listen, if you're a veteran, you're listening to this, which I hope you are.
Yeah, me too.
The FFO wants you. Okay? The FFO loves you, and the people associated with that organization do.
Yeah.
There is a place for you in this world. Right?
Absolutely.
And the FFO is there to help. If you're thinking about it, if you're on the edge, please don't.
Yeah.
There are people out there there are people out here that care about you. And
let us show you a good time.
Yep.
And that's all it really is, a good time. Create another brotherhood that you wouldn't think you've ever had, other than the military. It's like, and again, Saturday night, there was a couple events that stand up, and it's like, one of them, they just retired a year ago and they came back home and didn't really know what to do with herself. It's like, how can I miss the brotherhood. I miss, the structural, because the military is very all about structural. You have to do things certain ways, and now when they're out of that and they're back into the civilian world, they don't really know how to adapt so much. and that's when everything, kind of just boils on top of them. And in FFO, what we do is we kind of regain that brotherhood that you had in the military and as your veteran civilian life now.
Right.
You can have that again, and you can keep in contact with other veterans, and even some other veterans, they get together on their own, and then they hang out and they do things together, go out to dinner, they'll go fishing together. Some of them do a lot of hunting and stuff like that. So it's like it kind of reunites your brotherhood that you had in the military.
Yeah.
And it's what we like to do.
The I at the bass event, I had mentioned to a group of the veterans there that I was talking to my father about the stuff that we do, like the stuff how we pitch in and help, or at least try to.
Yeah.
And he's a veteran too. He's Korean War veteran, United States Air Force. And when I brought this up to him, he turns to me and he says, a lot of people, they want to help because, they feel that it makes them feel good, or, they want to make themselves look better, or give themselves a better appearance. But he goes, really the mindset that people need to have in this scenario is that as a civilian, right, it's not like, something that, is suggested to do.
Right.
It should be your obligation to help these guys because, as we all know, there would be no country without the sacrifice that they've made.
They're the one that signed the dotted line and took the ultimate risk.
This world would be a much rougher place without them.
And knowing that, there could be a possibility they won't be coming back home.
Right.
And then they still signed that dotted line.
Yeah. And they have families, a lot of them.
Families, has spouses, multiple kids, maybe one kids or no kids, but still they took that ultimate risk, and knowing that, it could be a great possibility I won't be coming back.
Yeah. It's insane. Mind-boggling.
It is really
that this country doesn't do more for them. But
we do.
We do. All right. So, and I think more people, you need to take that approach of roll your sleeves up and get involved.
Yeah, exactly.
Boom. So, and you did. And when did you first start getting involved with the FFO?
So how I started is I joined a bass club. I bought my boat from a friend of mine, and he's the president of, he has his own club called Bass Hawks. And so I bought the bass boat in intentions of doing some guide fishing trips. So anyways, one of the tournaments I didn't have a partner. And in the boatyard, just passing Vinny, I came to the idea, I was like, hey, maybe Vinny want to come fishing with me. And I asked him, he's like, yeah, sure, let's go. So we're out there fishing, and just the idea, and that's all it really takes is an idea that comes to my mind. And I asked Vinny, he's like, hey man, what would you think if the veterans would really like a bass tournament? You think they would really like something like that? And he goes, yeah, sure, we can try it out, So I was like, okay, cool. The next club meeting, I pitched it to my club members, and I told them all about it, about the organizations, what they do, and how they cater to combat wounded veterans. And 9 of them volunteered out of, I think we had 15 at the time. So we had 9 volunteers, and then we had 13 veterans. So a few of them took two veterans on their boat and stuff. And so after that first event, everybody was just like, oh man, I want to do that again. Are we going to do this again? It's like it becomes somewhat addicting to do such a good deed and see the person that you took out for the day.
It does,
really,
doesn't it?
I mean, I'm hooked. I am blessed.
That's a good addiction.
It is. And I am blessed to be able to take 2 vets out a day. I take them out on a tournament. And I joined another club called Bass and Fools, and also I do some leisure fishing. So if these guys just want to kick back, relax, have a few beers, or just have a couple drinks or something like that, and just either they want to do some exotic peacock bass fishing, or they want to be in the middle of nowhere in the Everglades, I could take them there too. Or if they really want to take fish one of the greatest lakes in the country, Lake Okeechobee, I take them out there also.
Right.
So after I did that first event.
It's awesome that you do that, by the way.
Thank you.
And and I want to also let people know that, that's part of the FFO contribution, that you make
I do,
and that people can make, going forward. And even like the funds that are donated and stuff like that can help support doing things
Absolutely.
like off of events and stuff like that. So.
And things like support also, and not to get off track with this, is that even when we created a pledge to take 2 veterans out a month. And the customer I work for, I'm a freelance boat captain. And I told him all I was doing, what I was getting involved in. And I was just mentioning to him what I was doing. And then he was asking me more questions about it. And so he's like, you know what? I want to go ahead and sponsor your first event, your first year. So he donated $12,000 to
Phenomenal.
fund. Oh man, it's great. And it's like, I can't take credit for that. That's all on him, of giving back to the veterans, and helping me help them. And I was just blown away, and I was just like really honored that he trusted me into doing all this. And so it's been working great. I think next month will be 1 year from, we started this pledge. And so I told him some more ideas and what we have going on. I told him about the bass tournament, and he wound up sponsoring the bass tournament on top of that. And he had this idea about giving each and every veteran a custom-made rod. So he bought 30 rods for every veteran, and for one for each veteran. And so he funded like another $23,000 just to fund the entire event. And that took care of the offshore and inshore and all the dinners.
This is through FFO.
For FFO, yeah.
Did you mention who this was, or do you not? Or he wants
Well,
to
he
remain
likes
anonymous.
to keep, he likes to keep anonymous.
Right,
Yeah.
so, Mr.
Yeah.
Anonymous Man,
Mr. Anonymous Man,
you are amazing.
You are amazing. Yeah. And then it's like one time we were out on the boat, and his American flag was starting to get all ripped up and stuff, and he was telling me, can you go to like Boat Owners Warehouse or West Marine and pick me up another flag? I could do that. And it's like, and I think FFO, we just I think Sarah just had some flags made. And so he's like, really? You guys have flags? I go, yeah, I can ask her and see if we get you one. I said, you know what? You tell Sarah if she has a flag for me, I want one, and I'll give in $10,000. So for the whole last year, he has donated $48,000, $47,000 last year alone.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. I mean, he funded the entire year of the pledge. He donated another $10,000 for a flag. That's probably the most expensive flag I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
But it was just for the purpose. And I told Sarah about it. She's like, what? Absolutely. I had a flag like the next day. And I put it up on their boat. And it's awesome because they love, and they're very, very, very passionate about and supporting veterans and children.
Right.
Yeah. And they help out a whole lot in the hospitals for children. They funded to have a stand-up MRIs for kids. That way they don't have to lie down and be claustrophobic. They funded to have the stand-up MRIs and a whole bunch of other things to assist, disabled children or ill children, things like that. So they're very, very, very passionate about it. And, God bless them that they have the funds and the means to help out in this way.
God bless them indeed.
Really.
The angels do exist.
Really, absolutely. And they have a heart of gold. They truly do. And, there's only so much you can thank someone. You know what I mean? It's like you tell them thank you till you're blue in the face, but just to show pictures and videos of everything that, their money went towards just goes for days. They really love it.
Absolutely. And I just want to also bring up, just so people know where the money goes.
Right.
The veterans get put up in hotels, right? It takes care of plane tickets to fly them down.
Yep.
You don't want there to be any deterrent from having these guys wanting to come or making up any excuses to say, because a lot of them do.
Yeah, a lot of them do.
There is an attrition rate of guys that, say they're going to come and then just don't show up.
Right.
And, that happens. We hope to minimize that number as much as possible. But, but the money does go towards making it as easy as possible for these guys to get here or to get wherever the event is, and want for nothing.
Yeah.
Which they should not have to open up their wallet one time during this event. So fully catered buffets, there's dinners that the FFO does. And, it goes beyond just going fishing. They treat them like kings as they should be.
Yeah.
And just the time and the effort and, things like, making, apparel and,
Yeah.
different things like that, and just, accessories and different things to promote and support the group.
Right.
It goes towards just, little things like having to, arrange a place,
Right.
you know what I mean? To have an event that is beyond just one of the dinners.
Yeah.
And it just, there's things I'm sure that I don't own the FFO, so I don't know everything that they pay for technically, but I do know that the money goes
It goes directly to them.
directly to these guys.
Absolutely. And a lot of people, they donate and they wonder, is like, is my dollar actually going to these guys? And like, yes, it is.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of money to, pay for, 23 guys for dinner. You know, I mean, just you take your family out alone, you can spend $200, $150 on a nice, restaurant. And at the hotel that they stayed in, the Marriott in Pompano, I mean, the dinners were like first class.
Well, that's the
It
thing.
was
You think about how much a wedding costs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Really?
Just having like a wedding at the Marriott. I mean, how much that costs? And they do that for them a couple of times this weekend.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
It's awesome, man. So
I also want to talk a little bit about how the community comes together,
okay,
right? Because on Connected by Water, that is really a big focus of ours. And that's one of the biggest points of the show is the fact that, I like to at least try to bring in our aquatic community and focus and highlight and spotlight the good things that community does. There's a lot of things in the aquatic community that aren't very good that happen, especially in our little Pompano bubble.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of good things that do happen, and bringing that to light is really important to us on the show, because that's truly what Connected by Water is all about.
Right.
Is making like this community coming together and building a better place. So your boat, right? You wrapped it.
Yep.
Right. But there's other people that contributed to helping you out.
Tons.
Because your boat, you wanted your boat to be
I
right
couldn't have done it
for
all
the
by
veterans.
myself. No way.
So shed a little light on some of that stuff.
Sure. So when I got involved with FFO and with that first year with the club, the next year, that's when we came up with the idea with the pledge and everything else. And then I decided, you know what, I really want to dedicate my boat to FFO. And Vinny and Sarah, they gave me this awesome position of being ambassador. And I'm honored and I'm truly blessed to have this position as ambassador for FFO.
They picked a good one. I can tell you that.
Thank you. Thank you. And so I really wanted to do something nice with my boat. And how this all started is I went ahead and I contacted a guy I know. His name's Todd Hursley. He owns Bass Online. And I know a lot of his guides they wrap their boats with the company logos and things like that and designs and stuff. So I asked him, who do you use to wrap the boats and stuff? So he gave me the contact name of Michael Corda. And he owns...
So he wrapped the boat.
C&M Customs. That's what it is. C&M Customs and Wrap and Design. So I just had a mind blank there. But anyhow, so I told Mike what we're doing, and I told him kind of the design I want. I want to look like one of the fighter jets with a shark face on it. And he was all for it. It's like, wow. And I told him, you know what? If you can help us out with a discount of any kind for the organization, you can integrate your logo onto the wrap as well. And he's like, oh, absolutely. So he deducted $1,200 off the price. And I was like, man, that is great. And so he went ahead and he gave it to his designers. And the designers came back and they had the whole camouflage, a shark face. And then they added on to the stern of the boat the American flag as it's flying, on the back of my boat. And I was like, man, this is awesome. So I gave them the go ahead and I gave them the deposit and go through with it. So I had that set up. And what else? So then my seats were really not looking that great, and I wanted to get them redone. And Dana Evers from TK Custom Canvas and Upholstery and her team, oh my God, they did an awesome job. And I told her what the boat was going to look like and what I'm doing it for. And she decided to donate the entire project to FFO. Nice. And it was about $5,000 worth of upholstery redone on my seats. She did the two pedestal seats, and she did my whole bench seat, and it's just like awesome. I'm so blown away. It's like you look at my boat, the first thing like really sticks out a lot are those seats, and so she did an awesome job on that. What else? Garmin was one of our sponsors. They really, helped me out a lot and pulled through with me. They donated me a 10-inch 7610
Nice.
Garmin unit. Yep. And they donated some other products, transducer, Panoptix transducer in the back. They donated some Garmin verbs, and now they're sending me another Panoptix live scope from a trolling motor. I'm like, oh,
Very
man,
cool.
I can't wait to try that.
Very cool. Yeah.
That thing is gonna be awesome. So anyhow, so I brought the boat to work and I talked to Roy. I told him, exactly all I'm doing, and Roy gave me the permission to, do this project on the facility. And some of the nights, I redid my boat in 2.5 weeks, and it was just like intense. 2.5 weeks. And the clear on it was cracking and stuff like that, so we had to sand that down. A lot of guys, I probably had about like 10 guys at work that helped me out with this project. I had Mike Kennedy, I had Orvie, I had Vince, my brother Xavier, he helped me out a lot. I had Vic, he helped me. Who else? I had a bunch of other guys. I'm sorry if I haven't mind blanked on you guys, but everybody knows who helped me out on that boat, and it's like I definitely could not have done it without their help, and they helped me prep it, and I just stripped down everything. Chris McClellan, Paul Bradley, they helped me out with the carpets and the catches and stuff like that. They did an awesome job. I mean, by the time everything was all said and done, the boat looked brand spanking new, And
Nice. Now our veterans have a nice, beautiful bass boat
to fish on. Yep, twice a month. And C&O Marine, they're out in Tennessee, and they overnighted me stuff just to get in time on a time crunch. I had a whole new dash for my bow and my helm, and they had a new windshield. So C&O Marine, thank you guys very much in Tennessee that they helped me out, pull through for me.
See, I love hearing that.
Yeah.
I really just, I love it.
Yeah.
When people just, roll their sleeves up and just get it done. And they know the intentions are good. And
Carol and C&O Marine, she's awesome.
Very
and
cool.
She really helped me out in just such a time crunch, and it was just it was great, man.
Now I know you mentioned your boss Roy.
Yep.
I actually want to give a shout out to Mark Hankey here
Mark
for
Hankey.
giving you the morning off here.
Yes,
come
that's right.
Me.
This one happened without you, Mark.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
And Mark, you can keep your runny eggs. I don't know what I'm talking about. Actually, that's more for Chip. But
more for Chip.
Yeah. He knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right. So I guess I could tell you. I don't know if I can tell you the story. So
go ahead. I know you guys go way back.
We go way back. So I must have been in my early 20s as a kid, and a buddy of mine, we'll just say, and I went out the night before.
Okay.
And we were invited to go fishing with them, and it was we were young and partying and whatever, and we were a little hungover the next morning. We probably should not have been out on a boat.
Probably.
And Chip, Mark's driving, and Chip, obviously knowing where we're at in life at that point.
Right.
He's like, warm, runny eggs. drippy eggs. Gross, nasty, raw eggs. He starts saying stuff like that. And
oh, my God.
Both of us are just hungover and off to the side.
Oh, my God.
So Chip really kind of was like digging in the dagger.
Man.
So
that's messed up.
so when I say runny eggs, Mark knows what I'm talking about. Mark was actually yelling at Chip to stop, but
right.
Yeah.
I can only imagine.
So thanks, Chip Hankey.
Yeah.
So anyway,
that's funny.
So, but anyway, where I was going with that was your boss, Roy. You've worked at Merritt for how long? 7
years now, going on 8.
Nice.
Yeah, I love it, man.
And it's a family there.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. It's been like ever since getting this job with Merritt's, man. It's kind of like a blessing in disguise. I mean, they just treat every employee like family. If you have something going on or you need help with anything, Roy has an open door. If you need to talk to him about something, you just knock on the door. Or if he's on the computer or something, whatever he's doing, 9 times out of 10, he'll stop what he's doing. You can sit down in his office and you can talk to him, and then whatever you need, he'll help you out with. If it's advice or whatever else, he's always there for you. And the whole Merritt family is just like, it's truly in my heart, this became my extended family, and it's just absolutely, it feels great to just work somewhere that you're absolutely appreciated, and like a long time ago, Alan Merritt, he's still around. He's still doing good, and he's 97 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, man, he's hardcore, and but he's awesome. And one thing that really touched my heart a lot, and I was probably working for the company for about like 3 years or so, is he'll ride around the golf cart, and he likes to talk to me a lot about, bass fishing and peacock bass fishing. He's been wanting to go fishing with me and stuff, and I was so close to get him to come fishing with me, and then he got sick and stuff, and then I couldn't take him afterwards. But anyway, so he was talking to me, and he's like, you know what, Jose, we really appreciate what you do here for us, and it's like we really like you. You do such a great job for us. We really appreciate you, and that to me, that was just coming from him.
Yeah, that's nice to hear.
That's huge.
Yeah,
coming
that's
from
nice
him.
to hear.
Because
that stuff goes a long way.
Long way.
I know there's statistics about it, but
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, the value, feeling like you're valued,
yeah,
is much
it's
a
awesome.
better feeling than,
Than anything
a big
else.
raise,
Yeah,
something
anything
like that.
else.
Yeah.
And the whole family's like that, man. I mean, it's really great. And then I think also like the plus side to all of it is the camaraderie that we have at work. We all have like a friendship with everybody that works there. I mean, we all have things in common, versus fishing or hunting and stuff. We all hang out. We all have kids around the same age. And so the camaraderie there is, hands down, probably like the best plus ever.
I think one of the coolest things about it, really, is that we have one of the world's greatest custom boat builders.
Oh, yeah.
Right here in Pompano.
Pompano.
I mean, and I want people to understand like the gravity of that.
Yeah.
Like there's only so many custom boat builders that can be on this level,
Right.
like in the world.
It's been there for since the 50s.
Right. That exactly. That is tried and true over the years. I mean, just, an established, one of the originals.
Yeah.
Right. And it's almost a piece of history.
Yeah.
It pretty much is a piece of history.
Yep.
Like everything the Merritt family and the Merritt Boatyard has been through. An original staple of Pompano Beach.
Yeah.
And it's right here.
Here in our
Pompano.
home. Yeah.
And I'm kind of proud of that.
Yeah, me too. I'm proud to be a part of it.
And you get to work there, so that's awesome.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I really love it.
So now, with that in mind, your boss does a lot to support the veterans.
Yes.
Probably more than, people understand or know. But that's really where I can leave that, is that I just want everyone to know that
Yeah, he does a lot.
Roy Merritt really does support the veterans and support a lot of these initiatives greatly.
Yeah.
And that is one of the biggest reasons that the FFO has been able, to grow and expand the way they have. So,
Yep.
So you work at Merritt Boats, but you're a bass fisherman.
Yeah.
So take me through that dynamic
boy.
a little bit.
So I've been bass fishing since I was a kid. Right. My parents split up when I was
grew
really
up
young.
out west
I grew
here?
up down here. I grew up in Sunrise.
In Sunrise.
In Sunrise, yep. And I went to Piper High. And so I grew up down here bass fishing the canals and stuff. And when I was little, I could walk for miles and miles and miles. And I'll have one hellacious farmer's tan. Because I'm going to be out there with a white beater. And by the time I come home, man, I take the shirt off. I still look like I'm wearing a shirt. And hence, everybody's got the dry fish shirts now, the buffs, the sunglasses, all the SPF 100s and stuff.
Everyone's looking the part.
Yeah. So back then, I was pretty tan.
Yeah.
And I just loved it. I went through some troubles with, my parents splitting up and stuff. And it was kind of hard for me at the time. I was like 7, 8 years old. And I became best friends with my neighbor, and he taught me how to fish. And, we used to watch like fishing shows together, and they'll show you like all Bill Dance and Jimmy Houston and all that stuff when they were on OLN at the time.
Yep.
And we're just kids, and I was hooked. Ever since he taught me how to fish and showed me how to fish with his dad and stuff, and we're going around the canals, and that's how it all started with me, and like every other kid, it all starts with catching bluegills, and then now, you're catching largemouth bass, and you're getting like, had my personal record a few months ago at 8 pounds at Loxahatchee.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was really cool. So
when was this?
that was I took 2 veterans out. I took Andreas and Ken out to Loxahatchee, and we were just hanging out, having some beers and stuff, and just talking and whatnot. And all of a sudden, I was using a speed worm, and I just stuck it. Because I thought it was a small fish.
Right.
And because I was catching small fish like all day. And so anyways, I just, I see the white flash in the water. I'm like, okay, it's probably another, small bass, how they strike and stuff. You see a little shine of them. So like, okay, so I'm holding the rod. I'm just sitting there. So what that shine was his mouth sucking the worm in his mouth. And it was just like, and she just sat there with it. So as soon as I gave it a little tug and then it just kind of like freaked out some, then I stuck it. And I was reeling this thing in, and it's awesome because it was so weird that when the fish didn't really put up much of a fight, it felt like I was reeling up a bucket in the water. Her mouth was just like wide open, mouth was like this big.
Really?
And it was just had her mouth open the whole time. She like shook her head a little bit. Her mouth was open. I'm just like reeling in. My rod is bent all the way in half. And Andreas went ahead and went in the water and just lipped it. And when he brought that fish on the deck, I dropped my rod. I was like, oh my God.
Dude, that must have been awesome.
Oh my God. I was beside myself. I was freaking out like for at least 2-3 hours afterwards. I caught an 8-pound bass.
That's great.
I was like, dang.
You're probably better off that thing was coming right at you with its mouth open.
Probably so, because if it was, I had it stuck good on the side of the mouth, so it probably wasn't going anywhere, but then again, it could have risked of popping the line.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to do that.
That's a big bass.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people, a lot of people don't realize, and the bass they're pound for pound, very strong fighting fish.
They are strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
especially
like
those peacocks.
Yeah. The peacocks are just, man, that's
Different
addictive.
animal. Fast.
They are animal. They are super fast. They're really acrobatic. They're aggressive. They're angry. It's like once you have using a rattle trap or a spinner bait or a beetle spin or something like that, and you just go by them just the wrong way for them, they just crush it. And then your drag is screaming. And it's like, oh man, can't get enough of it. I love bass fishing.
I really do. I mean, see, that's how I grew up fishing out here too. This side of the tracks, we'll call it, right?
Yeah.
And it's easy when you grow up out here because you just grab a rod and go walk down the street with your friends and you hit the canals and the golf courses and stuff like that. Yeah, but it's a blast.
Yeah,
I mean, I really do love it. When especially I love topwater.
Yeah,
just because I love seeing the bass. Obviously that's not always the best way to fish, but I just love it when it happens.
Yeah.
I mean,
nothing better than topwater bite. Yeah. Just to see them crush it. Sometimes I had them like just from the bottom of the water, just come right straight up and just bolt out of the water with it.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
One of my favorite lures to use for topwater, like to this day, and don't laugh, is those little torpedoes.
Oh yeah, the little torpedoes are pretty good.
I just like every now and then I'll just throw one on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And every now and then I'll catch one on it. But more often than not, no.
But it's just awesome just sitting there
But I just love that little wake that it puts up and boom.
Crushes it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome, man.
Let's go bass fishing.
We got to do that.
Tell Mark you're taking the afternoon off.
Oh boy, I think he won't be too happy about that.
No, I don't think
There's some boats I got to get hauled out in the afternoon.
Yeah. So you're catching bass, you're catching peacocks and clown knife
fish.
That's like the big thing now. A lot of people are heading after those.
A lot of people heading into that. So
you don't get too much of the snakehead thing though.
Yeah, I caught a snakehead last night when I took my son out.
Okay.
Yeah, we caught a small one over there in the C14 canal, and which I'm surprised. I haven't been catching that many of them. I know they've been doing a lot of tournaments out there to try to help the population of them. I know they're a huge invasive species.
Right.
And then also there've been studies out there saying, they're not really that invasive anymore, but I don't know. They eat everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you've been hearing lots more about the snakeheads and stuff. I mean, we talked about the peacocks being like purposely put in before, but
no, I haven't heard it. Like you said, it's kind of died down.
A lot of them being invasive
stuff,
and killing them.
Yeah.
I think FWC, I could be wrong, but I think FWC did a research and caught like 100 of each invasive species, and they did like a biopsy of them. They just opened them up and see what they're eating, and most of the snakeheads were actually eating their own young because they breed by the thousands.
Yeah. License plates.
Yeah, license plates, like a bunch of bull sharks,
Yeah, like the tiger and bull shark.
Yeah, they just eat anything with water, garbage disposals,
You have a pair of Air Jordans in there.
Yeah. Flip-flop. Oh, man. So, But yeah, so they're fun to catch too, those snakeheads. I mean, they twirl around more than anything. You know, they're kind of acrobatic some, but I think the most intense fish to catch is one of those clown knife fish.
I was about to say, I haven't caught one of those yet, but
I'm gonna get you on one.
Yeah,
I promise. I'll get you and your son on one. It's gonna be awesome.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too. You know, I do a lot of my guiding trips out there in Lake Ida, and probably 90% of my trips are out there. And I just get some of these customers on some nice fish. I think the last one customer caught like a 7.3 out there.
Really?
I mean, that thing was massive. My son caught one that was 6 pounds.
Nice.
I mean, that thing was almost as long as he was. He had to hold it with both hands, and he could barely hold it enough to take a picture.
Yeah.
And it was just too heavy for him. It was like 6 pounds, and the fish is flopping around. And it's cool how their tail, they're just like an eel. They have a body of an eel, and their tail just like flutters like this. You know, it's wild. And they swim backwards. You know, you can sit there and have tug of war with a fish, and he's just swimming backwards away from you with his mouth open like that. You know, it is so cool.
Someone asked me to paint one of those. And I'm like, really?
Oh, man.
I'm like,
that would be cool.
You think so?
I mean, the spots on them are like unreal. You know, they have like these multiple spots along their tail going up.
Right.
And they're like the peacock bass. Not one peacock bass is the same.
The same, yeah.
I think the peacock bass is one of the most gorgeous fish there is,
man.
like fresh or salt.
Yeah.
Really, it's such a pretty fish.
Just all the colors into it, the eyes and stuff like that.
With
the
the
dot
orange
on
and
the
yellows
tail.
and greens and blacks, yeah.
Yep.
It's a
They're
beautiful
awesome.
fish.
My dream goal is to go to Brazil in the Amazon and get one of those big butterfly peacocks.
Yeah, the butterfly.
Oh,
Yeah. Let's go.
oh man, that'd be
I have
awesome.
family in Brazil.
Do you really? My
Yeah.
wife's from Brazil.
Is she?
Yeah, from
My
Rio.
wife's Brazilian too. She's half Brazilian.
Well, how
yeah,
about
her
that?
dad's from Brazil.
Oh,
Yeah, my in-laws are in town right now.
No
I love my
kidding.
in-laws. Yeah, I really do.
Oh,
I
man.
know not everyone can say that, but
Yeah.
I can. You know,
That's awesome.
They're my
I love
second
my
parents
in-laws
for
too.
sure.
They're cool. They're
But
really great.
her father, or her whole side of the family, her father's family, they're
Right.
all from Rio.
No kidding.
And he moved here when he was probably about 14. But
Uh-huh.
her grandparents, God bless them, are still kicking down in Miami.
Right.
And they're 95 years old, both of them.
Wow.
Yeah. And but at this, it's tough to talk. We talk like almost like through like emotion and sign language, because
Yep.
their English isn't the best.
Yeah, exactly.
But man, they are such good people.
Oh man. I
But
know.
yeah, if we ever, they're always
The
saying,
food's awesome.
Yeah, there's also extended family down there
Right,
too. So
right.
you always said, oh, we'd love to go down to Brazil one day. I've never
Oh,
been.
man.
And
Neither
my
have
wife's
I.
never been either.
And I told my wife, like, the day you bring me to Brazil, you're gonna have to dedicate 2 days. I'm gonna be in the Amazon. Oh, let's definitely do it. That'll be awesome.
Let's make that a Connected by Water initiative,
That would be cool.
right?
You and I get some freaking butterfly peacocks out there.
Yeah.
That
John,
is
you
so
want to come?
epic.
Of course.
You wanna-
I
you
gotta
say
do
no
some
to a trip
filming.
like
I'll do
that.
some filming. Take a little break.
We'll
Catch
see.
myself one.
We'll see.
That'd
We'll
be
see.
cool.
Oh, Brazil.
Hell yeah.
All right. We'll put that on the radar.
Yeah.
I don't know
Make
if
that
that'll ever
happen.
happen, but I want it to happen.
It's expensive to go out
It's
there.
very
Yeah.
expensive.
I mean,
it's
it's
a long flight.
The
It's an
flights
8-hour
is
flight.
yeah.
Yeah.
But take all the quarters out of your pockets every time you do laundry. You just put it in that jar and keep saving it for that Amazon trip.
Yeah. That's great. So, when we go fishing too, if we catch a snakehead, maybe I should take some reference shots of that.
Okay. Yeah, and
See if we could do
right
something
here, C14 Canal.
Yeah.
I think the biggest snakehead ever caught was right behind Coconut Creek High School. I mean, this guy was probably like maybe 3 feet long, and it was probably about, an 8-inch diameter on it.
Mm-hmm.
It was insane. And I was using a culprit black and red worm, and with like a 1/4 ounce weight on it. And I was just throwing it up on the bank and hitting like the weed line and stuff, trying to catch some largemouth. And then all of a sudden, it's like something took it and just ran with it. And my mic drag's screaming. I'm like, man, I'm thinking I got a 10-pound bass on here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm reeling this fish up, reeling him up. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, see this big giant, like twirling, like how they do, like the alligators do, they twirl around and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, look at the size of this thing. His head was probably about this big. I mean, the biggest snake I've ever seen in my life. And back then, it's like they had that law. It's like if you get caught releasing a live, snakehead, you have to kill them. You get a big fine or something like that.
Yeah.
So fortunately, I had to take my pliers right straight to his head and just like take him out. But it was massive. So there's some big snakeheads in here.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely take you out there, C14 Canal, and then have to make a day out of it because it takes a little bit to go through the residential area to go behind Coconut Creek High School.
Right.
But it's epic fishing over here.
I, for a while, I had stopped really kind of freshwater fishing altogether. And it was just really mostly sailfish and
Right.
offshore stuff. And then when we opened up the studio, my overall fishing time like reduced greatly because we were just trying to build the business, and
Yeah.
so I would still get out, but not nearly as much as I used to fish. And then recently, with my kids now, it's easier to take them on a Saturday. So let's just go down the street and fish for a little bit. So recently now, because of my kids, I've started bass fishing more.
Right.
And because they wanted to catch the bluegills, and I'll just I'll just fish, and like we caught one a couple weeks ago, and my son was so jacked up about that fish, right? Because they're just dropping for bluegills, and they're just catching them like in
Left
volume,
and right.
Yeah. And we went to that little Pine Trails Park pier there in Parkland,
Right.
and I had got that new Corrado, and I was just really kind of trying to dial in, you know what I mean, the bait caster, because I hadn't used a bait caster in a while,
Right.
and so I'm just kind of just getting my cast down, seeing how far I can, greatly improving like my casting distance, like little by little, and
Right.
and then this nice, decent sized bass hit, right? My son was so jacked up, my daughter was too, but he was dancing around that thing like we caught Bin Laden. He's like, oh, he's like, yeah, like, oh, big bass, big bass, big bass. So now he wants nothing to do with bluegill.
Right.
So
The addiction starts.
yes. So now he's like, we got to go bigger. We got to go better. So we have to go to Bass Pro, and he's got all this new lures set up there because he didn't have any lures. He needs to have his own lures.
Yep.
So he went and picked out bought him like 5 lures, and so he's ready to roll.
Yeah. I remember when I was a kid growing up, and what was it called? Like Friday, right after school, I'll just have my rod in the corner, and I'll take my tackle box out, and I'll go ahead and I'll go through all my lures and stuff, and I'll just plan my day, how I'm going to conquer the weekend, from like start to finish, and what I'm going to use and stuff. And, you watch all these fishing shows with this Bill Dance, which he fishes like, stocked ponds and stuff.
Right.
But anyway, you still want to be like him regardless, So I'll go ahead and I'll plan out my rods. I'll carry 2 rods with me. And it was just the greatest feeling, you know what I mean? And you just change your line out on it and stuff. And I would spend like maybe 2 hours just messing and tinkering with my fishing stuff. And once it's all said and done, then I can't sleep that night because I'm excited to go fish the next day, and I just walk down the end of the block, and that's all I'm really doing, So it's awesome, man, starting out with a childhood, and then it just goes on into your adult life. Yeah,
if you could bottle that passion and sell it, you'd be a millionaire.
Oh my, really?
In a day.
Easy. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what events do we have coming up for FFO?
I think the next event is going to be in Jensen Beach.
Jensen Beach. And that is going to be at the River Palms Cottage, right?
I believe so.
With Rufus's place. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's another one that we didn't bring up that does so much for the FFO is Rufus Wakeman.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, he does a lot to support the organization. Among a lot of the other sponsors, and people are dedicated to that. So, how often do you do charters? I want to promote your charter business for a little bit.
It comes in spurts, It's probably like around like when school starts, it kind of slows down some, but I do it every weekend, I'm not booked every weekend, but that's when I do it, because when I'm not working at Merritt's, I'm either guiding or I'll fish a tournament or taking veterans out.
Yeah.
So sometimes, some weekends I have a charter trip, and the next day I have a tournament with a veteran, or I'm just taking out a veteran, things like that. But on the weekends is when I do my guiding.
Okay.
So,
All right, cool. Well, if you guys want to support Captain that supports our veterans, right, reach out to Jose, look him up. We'll post all what's your social? It's at
GladesJet. GladesJet.com. I'm just starting that web page, but if you look up GladesJet Fishing, you'll see it. Yeah.
GladesJet Fishing. So Jose Carbonell will get you tight on some bass.
Yeah, man.
Possibly a snakehead.
Definitely
clowns
clown
and
knifefish, peacocks.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
You want to fish the right way, freshwater, you get in touch with him. So, anything else we need to cover? I think we were thorough pretty much on the FFO today.
Yeah, man.
Right? And if you guys want to support the FFO, Freedom Fighters Outdoor, right? Freedom Fighter Outdoors. .org. Right? Reach out there. If you're a veteran, please
reach out to us.
If you're even thinking about it, just give them a call. and have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
See if it's the right fit for you.
Right.
I think it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can pretty much guarantee that, if you make the commitment and go, they'll take care of you. You don't have to lift a finger. All you need to do is say yes.
Yes. And just come out and
Right.
let us help you and show you a good time.
Yeah.
And that's all it really is about.
Absolutely. I mean, you're looking for a nice vacation. You're looking for something to get away and do.
And all expenses paid.
Yep.
All you got to do is show up and bring a bag with your clothes. That's it. Everything is covered to the T.
Right. And really, it is the most least demanding thing,
Yeah.
you can do. And, it's one thing that Sarah and Vinny do not do is push.
No.
Like they will not make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
They will not demand things of you.
Mm-hmm.
They understand that it's all about you, the veteran.
Yep.
Right. So please, if you're thinking about wanting to get involved with an organization that you feel would be beneficial for your life and improving your life, improving your mental well-being, this place is legit. Please reach out to FFO. Find them on social media, at Freedom Fighters, and get involved. One of the outreach officers can talk to you if you don't want to talk to Sarah and Vinny directly. And there's a really, really good network of outreach officers, that know and understand what you're going through, and can greatly help you out. So reach out to them. Also, if you get a chance, we're going to give ourselves a shameless plug. Check out our site, connectedbywater.com. We got a brand new shop up there with lots of things like apparel and, hats and stickers and fun stuff like that. And also we have a full offering of our custom services listed online too. So connectedbywater.com. We appreciate it. And Jose, I want to thank you for coming out today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is awesome.
Yeah.
It's great.
I mean, really, 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 I appreciate everything that you do for the freedom fighters.
Thank you, man.
I appreciate everything you do for the veterans, and just our community as a whole.
Yeah.
There needs to be more of you.
Yeah.
Right. There needs to be more people like you that are just willing to just give, your time and your effort and your heart, and it's not just you, it's also your entire family.
Yeah.
That helps out.
Yeah.
So I want you to, that was one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on today, beyond the fact that I love you. You're an awesome guy.
Thank you, man.
But I really want to shed light on the heroes in our community that are really doing good and helping out and living a good, solid, clean living life, and getting things done for the right reason. So Jose, thank you so much for everything that you do.
Thank you, man.
All right.
Yep.
All right. We're going to end it like that. So your ego is not your amigo. Just do your best and let God do the rest. Remember to buy all your vehicles at Joey Carty Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Right. Remember to always eat, drink, and be local. Check out connectedbywater.com. And don't ever forget that no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, we will always be connected by water.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jose.
Yeah, man. Tight lines.
Yep.